Hello guys, welcome back to the Brutal Investor channel. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Before we move any further, a word from our sponsor. Dear viewers and subscribers from the US, have you ever wondered how you can make tax-free crypto trades and also in a fully legal manner? Then iTrust is here for you. iTrust is America's #1 crypto IRA and 401k trading platform. It's a platform where you can self-trade cryptocurrencies and physical gold or silver in your retirement account. The main advantages of using iTrustCapital are it is a fully tax-advantaged account where any trades you make in this account are tax-free in an IRA. You get one of the lowest costs in the crypto trading space with 1% trading fee for crypto and $50 over spot per ounce of gold. You also have a 24-hour day trading period because of their deep liquidity pool. They also have a wide range of cryptocurrencies. You can basically trade between Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, Chainlink, Polkadot, and several other DeFi and non-DeFi tokens as well. And they're also planning to add more cryptocurrencies, including Decentraland or Mana. You can also trade physical gold and silver, and iTrust utilizes Vault Chain, an investment-grade gold and silver held physically at the Royal Canadian Mint, with ownership managed by a secure blockchain distributed ledger. More importantly, they have Coinbase Custody and Curve as their two most important digital asset wallet providers, who are some of the most leading players in the crypto space. So if you like to trade crypto and physical gold and silver in a completely tax-free environment, you can basically choose iTrustCapital. If you use the link in the description below or use the code BRUTAL, then you can get your first month completely free, which is $29.95 off your first month's trading fee account. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below to start your iTrustCapital account and start your tax-free trading of crypto and physical gold today. In this episode, we're going to talk about another token that is potentially going to be listed on Coinbase pretty soon based on Coinbase's recent announcement. And this token is called the TBTC token. As always guys, I highly recommend you guys to do your own research on any of the projects we cover on our channel. For this project, I recommend you guys to go to the website tbtc.network in order to learn more about this project, right? So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to rely on the information presented on CoinGecko's page as opposed to CoinMarketCap, because I couldn't find a lot of information about this token on CoinMarketCap. But CoinGecko seems to have a decent amount of information, which you can also use to do your own research. But the information that's going to be presented in this video are going to be peripheral analysis, which means you need to do your own in-depth research before you put any of your hard-earned money on this token, right? So what is TBTC? TBTC is an ERC-20 token on the Ethereum blockchain that is fully backed by BTC at the rate of 1:1. The supply of TBTC is always backed by an equal number of Bitcoin kept in its reserves. So again, right off the bat, TBTC is pretty much the exact same as BTC because it's a 1:1 peg of BTC. It is also a token on the Ethereum blockchain. So it's an ERC-20 token that's running on the Ethereum blockchain. And the price of TBTC is maintained because of the equal amount of BTC that is kept in reserves, right? So TBTC has been designed to allow Bitcoin holders to participate in Ethereum's decentralized finance applications. Users wishing to utilize their Bitcoin on Ethereum can use the TBTC decentralized application or DApp to deposit their Bitcoin into the system and get a minted TBTC token in their Ethereum wallet. They can also use the DApp to redeem their Bitcoin. So again, it is pretty much the same kind of concept as RenBTC or wrapped Bitcoin, which are also two tokenized versions of Bitcoin used on Ethereum Dapps. So Ethereum has a lot of kind of like cool Dapps where tokenized versions of other assets, predominantly Bitcoin, can be used in order to earn more of Bitcoin through decentralized lending or decentralized staking. So REN and wrapped Bitcoins have been some of the most popular versions of ERC-20 token based Bitcoin on the Ethereum blockchain. And After seeing that, several other projects are also trying to emulate their success by having either a centralized or decentralized mechanism to lock customers' Bitcoin and mint an equivalent amount of tokens in the ERC-20 standard, right? And one such project is the TBTC platform. So that's basically the overview of TBTC. It's basically an ERC-20 version of Bitcoin, which is pegged 1:1. And it's basically created for the purpose of making Bitcoin available on the Ethereum blockchain for DeFi applications, right? So how was TBTC founded? TBTC is an open source project supported by groups including Keep, Suma, and the Cross-Chain group. TBTC was launched on May 11th, 2020. On May 18, 2020, a bug was detected in the redemption codes and the protocol was forced to stop all new deposits for 10 days. Funds were not at risk and immediate action was taken to return funds to those involved. TBTC went live again in September 2020. So again, they obviously started off this particular kind of like paragraph with the origin of TBTC, but then it kind of took a turn and they went on to talk about a potential bug, an actual bug, not a potential bug, a bug that was found sometime during May 2020 last year. And that's basically how they've chosen to frame this paragraph, which is a very weird one. But again, regardless of that, this is a project that's an open source project that's supported by other platforms such as Keep Network. So if you guys don't know what Keep Network is, a while back I made a video about Keep Network in my channel, so you guys can check that out. So it is a project that is available on Coinbase, and it was funded by Coinbase Ventures. So again, it's a project that is literally less well known. It also tries to do something pretty cool in its platform. They are also supporting the TBTC token, which is the token that we are looking at right now. Apart from Keep, Suma and the Cross-Chain group as well support the TBTC, right? And it was launched in May 2020 last year. On just 7 to 8 days after the token launch, a bug was detected which prevented people from redeeming their tokens, and therefore it had to be put on hold for 10 days. There was no real issues with the funds, so therefore people who wanted to get their funds back were returned their funds without any issue, and the project went live again after the fixing of the bug in September 2020, right? So now going into the details of this, again, I'm going to only peripherally skim through this section because it is a very long section which you guys can easily like dive deep into if you guys want to. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to cover this topic quickly instead of going through too deep into this topic, right? So how does TBTC work? So this is again going to talk about how this entire ecosystem works and how does TBTC kind of like maintain its peg with actual Bitcoin in real life, right? So the mechanism used by TBTC is fairly similar to how MakerDAO creates DAI. So again, it's a copycat version or similar copycat version to that of MakerDAO, because MakerDAO, if you guys don't know that, again, I've covered that particular topic in another video in the past, so please check that out. So MakerDAO is a very one of the very first projects on the Ethereum blockchain, and it revolutionized crypto because it kind of created this opportunity for people to lock their Ethereum, and after that it kind of added support to other ERC-20 tokens. So basically you can lock your Ethereum or other ERC-20 tokens in the MakerDAO's CDP and mint DAI, which is a stable coin whose value is pegged to the US dollar all the time in a fully decentralized manner. So DAI was created thanks to MakerDAO, and DAI is one of the first fully decentralized stablecoin, dollar stablecoin that's pegged to the US dollar, right? So similar to how that system works, TBTC also uses the similar system. For example, TBTC relies on price feeds, bonds, and arbitrage opportunities to keep the system running honestly. So again, they're giving an example stating that TBTC being a fully decentralized kind of tokenized version of Bitcoin, which is also a volatile asset because Bitcoin is a volatile asset, aims to keep its peg by price feeds, bonds, and arbitrage opportunities from traders, right? So this is basically how its system works. So there's a simple kind of like flow chart here that you guys can kind of read through in detail, which I'm not going to cover right now, to understand how the system works. The starting point of minting the TBTC for TBTC is to create a deposit request. This request is a transaction to a smart contract and TBTC's host chain and indicates that the sender requires a signing group backed wallet mediated by a deposit. So again, just to be short and sweet on this one, when you need to mint TBTC, you need to create a deposit request, again basically stating that you will be depositing actual Bitcoin in order to, in a particularly decentralized smart contract on Ethereum, in order to kind of mint equivalent amount of TBTC, right? So again, this is basically the first step of the process. Once the deposit request is received, the signing group is created by randomly selecting a set of signers to back a Bitcoin wallet. Within the system, there will be 3 signers responsible for approving the transaction. For a transaction to proceed, it will require all 3 signatures approval. So again, here they're stating that once the deposit request is received, if you are trying to mint something, you need to make sure that the actual asset is deposited, and it needs to be verified by people who are going to be like verifying that this is the actual Bitcoin that you deposited, and therefore, to confirm that the actual Bitcoin is received, there will be 3 signatures, and all 3 signatures are required in order for the approval to happen, right? As a protective mechanism, signers must stake 150% of the amount of Bitcoin being deposited by the user before they could generate a public key. Also, the signers must have enough bond available to back a deposit in order to be chosen for the signing group. So again, in order to become a signer, you have specific requirements. You need to stake at least 150% of the amount of the Bitcoin that's being deposited, and also you need to go through a specific process in order to kind of like show that you are a valid signer, because not everybody can become a signer, right? So that's an important step that you need to understand. After a deposit has been requested and a funding group formed, the depositor will be assigned a non-fungible token unique to the deposit called the TBTC deposit token, or the TDT, granting them ownership of the deposit. This ownership comes with the exclusive right to redeem the deposit from the moment it was funded until the deposit term is reached. So again, here is basically where the uniqueness of this platform gets shown. So once a deposit request has been received and signed off, there will be a non-fungible token that's unique to the deposit will be assigned, and this is called TBTC deposit token, or the TDT token. And this is basically representing the full ownership of the particular deposit, and that will be pegged 1:1 with the Bitcoin, right? So again, overall, it happens in a very unique mechanism that's completely different from wrapped Bitcoin as well as RenBTC. Once the TBTC system has a wallet address available for a given deposit request, the depositor can send their Bitcoin to the wallet address generated by the signing group. After the transaction has been confirmed by the Bitcoin chain, the depositor has to issue a transaction to the host chain proving that the deposit has been funded. So again, here they're talking a little bit more complicated about the technique that's happening behind the screen. So overall, what you need to understand is that when someone has to kind of like mint TBTC, they need to make a deposit request. Based on the deposit request, the signers or signature, signature correspondence must be happening through validated signatures, signers who have their own requirement to meet. And once all 3 signers sign off, then a non-fungible token that's representing the Bitcoin itself is created, and this is called TDT. And then a wallet address is generated from which the deposit of the TBTC can happen to the user, and this is going to be like fully based on the information that happened in the Bitcoin chain itself, and it will be deposited to the user who wanted to mint TBTC, right? So again, I'm just kind of shrinking the entire process fully, because if you scroll through this, you have a lots of information that you can go through, which will be a little bit technical for the purpose of the video, so I just skipped through the entire section, right? So how to swap TBTC for Bitcoin? So again, how can you redeem TBTC to get back your Bitcoin, right? So this is talking about that step. So When users wish to redeem TBTC for Bitcoin, they have to submit a redemption request transaction to the smart contract, which includes their Bitcoin wallet address, during which they will repay the outstanding amount of TBTC and signer fees. So again, if you want to get back your Bitcoins, and return your TBTC, you need to submit a redeem request, because initially you made a deposit request, but now you're going to make a redeem request, and this has to be submitted directly to the smart contract, which means it's fully decentralized and there's no real middleman acting in this. And while doing that, you should also submit your Bitcoin address to which you want your actual Bitcoin to be deposited, along with the TBTC that you initially minted, and the signer fees in order to process the transaction, as well as the process itself, right? The beneficiary receives their signer fees, and the rest of the token are burned, including the TDT and TBTC. Next, the signers wait for the transaction to be confirmed on the Ethereum blockchain. Finally, the signers produce a signature which can be submitted to the Bitcoin network to send Bitcoin to the specified user address. Again, a couple of process happens behind the screens, where once the beneficiary receives the signer fees, the rest of the tokens, including the TDT and the TBTC, they ensure that everything is good, and they submit the transaction to the Ethereum blockchain along with the Ethereum fee, and it gets validated on Ethereum, and then the token is burned. And once the token is burned, the signer basically sends the signature to the Bitcoin network, which then sends the address to this user specified address, right? So again, that's pretty much how it happens. So now we're talking about the most important section, which is how safe is TBTC. So amongst the REN BTC and Wrapped BTC, which are already popular and existing in several DeFi dApps, and they're also extremely secure, why would you use TBTC and how safe is it, right? So TBTC ensures safety and transparency by managing counterparty risk. It uses a decentralized system of signers group that allows TBTC to process transactions safely and transparently without a trusted middleman. To remove single points of failure, signers must operate in groups of 3, which mimics a multi-wallet architecture. All 3 signers must approve a transaction for it to proceed. As an incentive for people to fill this role, signers receive a fee of 20 basis points for every TBTC minted in exchange for a Bitcoin. So again, in short, what they're basically saying is it's happening in a fully decentralized manner, and that's one of the reasons why it's a safe project, because there's no middleman here, and all the signers, again 3 signers, will be responsible for signing and verifying the minting and kind of like the redemption of TBTC to BTC and BTC to TBTC respectively. And in order to do that, the signers have a very strict requirements to meet, and they're also incentivized because they'll receive a small portion of the fee in order to make this process happen. So overall, it's a fully decentralized platform that kind of mints the TBTC from BTC, and that's how this is managed to be secure, right? So TBTC uses a method called random beacon, a decentralized random selection tool for selecting signers from a pool of cryptographically secure and decentralized way. This beacon is designed to be tamper-proof. Again, they also have other mechanisms in place in order to make sure that the selection process is fair, and there's no the people who are acting as signatories, they don't necessarily like manipulate the signings themselves, right? So, and the next section also talks about the bond, which is equal to 150% of the amount of BTC that's being deposited must be kind of deposited by the signers themselves in order to make this happen. That also makes this completely safe, because there's no incentive for them to like game the system, right? And here they've also talked about a few this bond is used in a few cases. Again, they're talking about the bond itself that will kind of like make sure that the signers themselves act in good behavior, right? But I'll let you guys read through that one. So what are the other ways to acquire TBTC? If users choose not to mint for TBTC, they can purchase TBTC in the Ethereum blockchain like any ERC-20 token through centralized exchanges such as Kraken or decentralized exchanges such as Uniswap. So again, if you don't want to go through this whole process of kind of like minting your own TBTC from your BTC, you can basically just buy it from any centralized exchange that lists this token, such as Kraken, and decentralized exchanges such as Uniswap that all support the ERC-20 format, right? So again, overall, this is just a copy cat version of REN or REN BTC or wrapped Bitcoin, but the thing is that it's a new generation of Bitcoin which uses a very unique model in order to kind of generate a tokenized version of Bitcoin, right? So let's go to the website quickly to see what other information you can find here. So the safe way to earn with your Bitcoin is deposit and redeem BTC in DeFi without intermediaries. That's pretty much it. So this is their token symbol. It's backed 1:1 with Bitcoin. It's fully permissionless and you can redeem it anytime. It's secure and it's extremely simple. Again, the process itself is quite complicated, but from the front end, it's fully simple, right? So this platform is, this token is fully live, and I think you can basically buy this from several DeFi dApps, including Uniswap, 1inch, and several other ERC-20 based dApps. DEXs. So here they have some of the latest info. Again, if you see some of the information that they're presenting here is from the 1st of December last year. So since then, I don't think there's been a lot of updates, and I don't really think TBTC is widely available as a DeFi token in several dApps, which means you still may have to rely on REN BTC or wrapped BTC if you want to use Bitcoin in multiple different popular dApps. So that's another kind of like a letdowner for this token. Integrate TBTC to add Bitcoin to your dApp. Again, if you are looking to create a dApp that will for some reason needs to use TBTC for borrowing or lending, then here is the read more button that you can click to read more about how you can do that. Build with TBTC, so they're trying to create a platform that can be built through the TBTC coin, and currently they're integrated with Compound, Bison Trails, Uniswap, Kyber Network, Loopring, 1inch, Relay, and DeFi Pulse. So again, it's good that they're providing the list of dApps that kind of like integrates this one. But if you see, apart from Compound, Kyber Network, and a couple of other dApps here, there's not a lot of dApps that you can use TBTC on, which means you are kind of restricted with what you can do with your TBTC. Even if you go through the process of minting it and paying the fees and making sure the transaction works, you don't really have a lot of options to kind of earn interest or other dApps that can basically like give you an opportunity to stake or provide liquidity to, right? So it's kind of like a letdowner, because I feel like it's going to take a while for people to rewire their brains from REN BTC and wrapped BTC and move to TBTC. So there's no real incentive for a person like me, let's say for example, who's used to using REN BTC and wrapped BTC to use TBTC, especially knowing that TBTC is only available in a specific number of dApps, and I can still use wrapped Bitcoin and REN Bitcoin in platforms pretty much everywhere on Ethereum, right? Including platforms that don't really fully have a full functionality. They'll have some version of wrapped Bitcoin or at least REN Bitcoin instead of like TBTC. So that's kind of like a letdowner for me. I personally wouldn't really use TBTC for any of my DeFi applications, because I believe that there's not a lot of dApps that can make it make this token available for borrowing or lending or anything like that. And I also believe that since there's not a lot of network activity for TBTC, there's going to be a hard time for them to get off the ground and make themselves available in several other centralized exchanges as well, because if there's not a lot of activity in decentralized exchanges or decentralized dApps, then why would centralized exchanges list it, right? So that's another issue with this platform, but that's just my opinion. If you take a look at the newsletter here, if you want to receive email updates from this platform, you can do that by submitting your email and email information here. And apart from that, they have several other information about the project which you can go through at the bottom of their page, right? Apart from the certain bit of disappointment that this token is offering because of the lack of availability in several dApps, I think the project itself is quite solid. It's again, it's up to the project to make sure that they are available to several different dApps, because if they're not necessarily making themselves available in multiple different dApps, there's no real reason for this particular token to be extremely popular, right? Especially when there's severe competition from even Binance BTC, which is again BTCB, which literally has a lot of subscriptions, because BTCB can be used in Beefy Finance, can be used in several other dApps on the Binance Smart Chain itself. So there are multiple different versions of BTC, and TBTC is going to have a very hard time if they don't try to integrate with multiple dApps, and if they don't try to market themselves in a much more meaningful way. They're going to extremely have quite a bit of hard time, right? So that's just my opinion, guys. If you go back to the CoinGecko page for TBTC, again, this token is picked 1:1 with Bitcoin. But there could be an opportunity to arbitrage, because TBTC relies on multiple price feeds, arbitrages, as well as Oracle prices, in order to make its price as close to possible as Bitcoin's price. Although the differences are very subtle between the actual Bitcoin price and TBTC Bitcoin price, there could be cases where market volatility being so wild during certain days of the week or during certain months of the year, TBTC can technically lag behind Bitcoin, which provides a lot of arbitrage opportunities for people who want to trade to and from TBTC, right? So that's something that I want to let you guys know. As people who have trading background or people who want to trade, they could take advantage of this kind of activity, right? But the token is currently ranked 646 by market cap on CoinGecko. It's trading at $53,498.98 at the time I'm making this video, with a 2.6% decrease in the past 24 hours, right? The market cap is only $42.7 million in market cap. It shows that this token is quite underused in multiple different dApps, because the market cap is quite small. So they don't really have a lot of traction to push themselves in popular dApps such as Yearn Finance or Synthetics or several other platforms. So they need to work very hard on that. Even if they get themselves listed on Aave, that's going to be really cool, because Aave is going to be easy for people to access, and apart from just making themselves available in Compound, they should also try to make themselves available at least in the top 10 dApps on the Ethereum blockchain, right? So if you take a look at the max supply, only 798 tokens have been minted. Again, since this is a token that's basically minted once a Bitcoin is locked in, since it's 1:1 pegged to an actual Bitcoin, the max supply and total supply are meaningless, because it only tells you that there are 798 actual Bitcoins that are locked in Ethereum in order to mint this token, right? It doesn't provide much other information for people who want to invest in this token. But if you see the price point, again, pretty much mimics the price of Bitcoin. There's nothing really interesting. If you are looking to buy Bitcoin, you are basically going to see the exact same price patterns, because I feel like there is not a lot of changes between the actual Bitcoin price point versus the TBTC price point. And if you also take a look at the Bitcoin comparative itself, you can clearly see that the token price has quite a bit decoupled from Bitcoin prices, Bitcoin's price, multiple times. But again, overall, it is closely tracing the Bitcoin's price, and therefore it could easily be used as a replacement for Bitcoin. But sometimes there could be extremely high volatility, which could make this token a good arbitrage opportunity to trade to and from Bitcoin, right? So that's just my opinion, guys. Again, there is no real price point to buy or sell this token. I'm not going to talk about that, because it's basically a token that represents Bitcoin in the Ethereum blockchain, right? That's all what it does. And there's no real unique investment opportunity in buying this token as opposed to buying the actual Bitcoin itself, right? So going to the markets itself, this token is available on Hotbit, Kraken, Gate.io, as well as Curve Finance itself. Again, Curve Finance is a good platform where you can provide liquidity to this token. If you do manage to get this token for DeFi Dapps for some reason, you can provide liquidity in Curve Finance and get some Curve tokens as rewards. And with the new listing of Coinbase coming in, this token is going to get some more liquidity and a little bit more exposure, but I don't know what newbies are going to think, because from a newcomer's perspective, they're going to see that TBTC is just another rip-off or a clone of Bitcoin itself, but in reality, TBTC is just a ERC-20 version of Bitcoin on Ethereum, right? So overall, what's my verdict on this one, guys? I think this token is going to obviously have to find a lot of dApps to integrate with in order to make themselves sustainable, because there's a lot of competition coming in, not only in Ethereum but also in Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and several other platforms as well, which rely on Bitcoin's liquidity. So if they don't do something to market themselves or make themselves much more popular amongst the masses, they could get irrelevant pretty soon. And as they become more and more irrelevant, the price fluctuations and the price difference between the TBTC versus actual BTC could be higher, posing a lot of opportunity for arbitrage traders and short-term traders, right? So if you are a short-term trader and you want to make some money by trading to and fro between TBTC, not minding the gas fees on Ethereum, then this is a really good token for you. Otherwise, I'm going to stick with just Trend BTC and Wrap Bitcoin for now. Then I would recommend you guys to do the same thing as well. Again, not financial advice, but there's no real investment opportunity with this token, because this token, even if you want to stake this token, I think the APRs are going to be minuscule. You might as well just buy and hodl Bitcoin, or just put your Bitcoin in an actual Bitcoin in your Celsius network, or if you bridge your Bitcoins to Binance Smart Chain or Polygon chain, you may have a lot of opportunities to kind of like make money from there, rather than using 1 or 2 dApps on Ethereum to stake your TBTC, right? So that's just my personal opinion, guys. Again, remember, guys, you guys are not regular investors, you guys are brutal investors, so stay brutal. Thank you very much for watching my video, guys. If you like my video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. See you in my next video. Bye.